Find Your Nova show.
So this is an aspirational show for leaders, innovators, and dreamers.
But before we continue, what exactly is a nova?
A nova is a Latin word for a bright star. Yeah.
And correct. And through that, we believe that all our children are bright in their own way.
So yeah, and all we do right here is help children and nurture them in a natural way that they are best in so that they can be able to unlock their full potential.
So if innovation, leadership, and cool fun stuff is your thing, I believe you should subscribe, like, and turn on notifications because this is the content for you.
And don't worry, we are going to brief you on what will be happening. So in the show, we shall be featuring leaders and innovators who have already found their nova.
As well as we'll be having interviews and Q&A sessions, fun facts, and other activities.
But before we get right into the show, why don't we first introduce ourselves?
I'm your host, Wesley Muridhi. I'm an alumni here back in 2019, and I'm currently doing Bachelor's in Business IT in Strathmore University, as well as I'm a software engineer by profession.
And I am your host, Beyonce Wambui Nyambura. I am an alumni of 2020. I'm currently doing fashion and design and interior design at NIBS, and I'm an entrepreneur.
Joined with us today is a wonderful guest who has been able to find her nova, as well as inspiring others to find their novas, also being able to have different impacts in different sectors in our country.
So guys, please help me introduce Miss Suzzane Silantoi. Hi.
Hi.
How are you? How's your day been?
Good, it's been good. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So tell us about yourself.
Well, I'll tell you about what I do. So I work in public policy as an analyst. I work at an organization called Africa Practice. Who am I? I think we're still discovering who that is, but I'm kind of liking the person who she is. I think I'm confident, and I think I have aspirations for this country, and I'm doing something about it.
About those aspirations in this country, might you enlighten us on what exactly you have in store for us?
Oh, okay. So I am passionate about this country's leadership. And so I chose to get into politics because I feel like politics determines a lot of things in our lives. And so in 2017, I vied for the Nairobi senatorial seat. So it led me into the public policy space, and I'm still involved in a few things politically, but I'll be back to vie soon. Yeah.
So talking about politics, how was it getting in? Like getting the funds, getting the connections to actually even be there? How was that journey?
So I should probably mention I vied when I was 23. I was 23 years old. I had worked for maybe 2 years at an NGO doing public health communication. And the reason why I even decided to vie in the first place is because I was very frustrated about our country and how things are run, particularly in the healthcare system, because that's where I worked in. So I really just wanted to see, is there a solution here? Can we do something about our leadership? So that was the choice. That's why I made that choice. I was very frustrated. And I chose Senate because, the health function of the country is devolved. And Senate is the guard of devolution. So they help, make sure things work properly within devolution. So I said, I don't know who I'm waiting for to do something about our country. I'm actually going to try and do something about it. I know it sounded a little bit crazy, and a lot of people thought I'm probably joking. But no, I was actually very serious about it. You asked, how did I raise money? The interesting thing is I put out a pay bill on social media, and I actually raised quite a bit in kind and cash. People sent in T-shirts, posters. Someone paid for a billboard. Someone helped us with a car. So most of the resources that I used were actually crowdfunded. Yeah, so from different people. And so we found a way to campaign. I didn't win. I'm not your senator of Nairobi. But I ended up getting 32,000 votes, which I thought was quite impressive for someone who, was an independent candidate, who was 23 years old, who did not have a party. So it really encouraged me that, I guess there's hope, and there's quite a number of people who are willing to listen to any other type of politics in the country. So that's how that went.
That's actually really good.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Being the young person that you are, you've just mentioned that you vied when you were 23. We have this stereotype that most old elder people are the ones expected to go into government. You being a young person, did you feel out of place, and what motivated you to actually move for that seat? Because that's a very, very big position you're going for.
I did feel out of place, and I still do feel out of place being in political circles as a young person. In fact, the notion has always been that, even when I was campaigning, a lot of people would tell me, why don't you go get a career and then come back and retire here, which I thought was ridiculous because you can't leave your country's leadership to people who don't represent the face of Kenya. Kenya is a young population. About 70% of our country is actually below the age of 35. So why should majority of our leaders come from just the 30%? I think a lot of us need to be represented there. How did I keep myself there? Well, I reminded myself why I was doing this. At the time when I was deciding to vie, we were having a doctor's strike for like 3 months. We had a nurse's strike for like another 3 months. So basically hospitals were closed for 6 whole months. Where were children being born? Those kids who were born during that period, were they getting immunization? You know, we get so many immunization things between the first 6 months. What is happening with that? And at the same time, you're hearing all these corruption cases and people just seemingly like not caring about what's happening to us ordinary people. So that kept me going, reminding myself that, okay, there's a problem and someone needs to do something about it. And I want to be that person to do something about it. So it kept me in that space, regardless of whether I was out of place because I'm young. Also being a woman in that space is also quite interesting. But yeah, just keeping to the cause, understanding why you're doing what you're doing.
So I can imagine you being 23 years old and coming out to your parents and being like, okay, mom, dad, I want to do politics and okay, I've decided to be a senator. Did they take it lightly? Were they like, okay, you're thinking about this too much? Like, it's an instant thing. How did they take it?
You know, I think the first time I told them, they thought it was a joke. So it was a running joke in the family. But then they saw, oh, you're actually serious. I think the first time they saw that I was actually serious. I'd taken some forms from IABC like to fill out. So of course they were very shocked. They were like, oh my God, are you actually doing this? And so I explained my reasons and I told them, and I think I have very understanding parents. I'm very blessed to have really good parents who just understood what I wanted to do and decided to just support what I wanted. But I think they've kind of seen that this has become a thing that I'm really passionate about, that I'm still pursuing to this day. And I don't think they regret. I should probably ask them, but I don't think they do. But yeah, it's evolved into so many things. So ever since I vied, I got into so many different spaces. I started working with people like the African Union to develop ways in which more young people can participate in politics, because that's a big problem that is there in Africa. Actually, globally. So I got into such spaces. Eventually, I went and did my master's in public policy and public administration. So I'm actively looking for solutions for this country, and I think my parents are okay now. It must have been a really hard thing for them at the beginning, but I was really lucky. Let me just say that. Yeah.
But speaking on that, where did you grow up? Where did you come from?
Where did I come from? So I'm Samburu. So I come from Samburu, the county of Samburu. But I grew up in Nairobi. And that's even why I vied in Nairobi, because this is where I know, this is where I went to school. I went to Westlands Primary School and then went to Riara Primary School. After that, I went to Moi Girls High School, Nairobi. It's kind of a big deal. And then after that, I went to KU, Kenyatta University, where I did a bachelor's degree in music. So I had a pretty normal childhood, really.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So, like, how was it growing up? Did you know, like, music is something I always wanted to pursue since I was young? How was it for you?
When I was younger, actually, I wanted to be a sprinter. I sprint 100 meters and 200 meters. So in my mind, I was going to win the Olympics. And yeah. Well, that didn't go so well because I didn't do any of that. But I decided to do music when I was in high school because I had a music teacher called Mr. Chokera, who was actually like, you know, this is a thing we could do. Everybody knew what they wanted to do, but I didn't. So he actually advised us, you know, this is something that you can do if you would like to pursue it. And I did. He opened our eyes to like so many different aspects of music that could be there. So that's why I decided to pursue that.
Wow. I mean, being someone who has gone into music shows that you have sort of a creative mind towards things. But wouldn't that be something that your parents would have advocated for? What exactly did they react, or how did they see the whole move towards music like?
Yeah, I think given them accepting even the politics things, you can kind of see my parents are pretty open-minded. But I come from a family where people are generally quite musical. Even my dad is very musical. He actually has an album out of gospel music. So it wasn't very foreign to it. And that's, I just attribute that to them being able to be exposed. And I think even Nova does that for you, right? It exposes you to different places, different things that you can do. You're not just restricted to your usual, there's nothing wrong with your usual careers, but, it opens up to other things. Yeah.
So I find you more of like a superwoman in everything. I mean, in terms of everything you do, you're a YouTuber, you do podcasts, you are into politics, you've pretty much done a lot. You've done music. So, what do you do now and what keeps you going?
Yeah, okay. So currently I work as a policy analyst in an organization called Africa Practice. So basically, I study political risk, understand what's going on in the country, and advise different clients, organizations to help them make choices about their investments.
Might you take us through the exciting life of Suzzane Silantoi?
Well, I mean, it's only exciting you were an ad, but I really enjoy it anyway.
Well, Nova has made me an ad.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay, and an ad is cool, honestly. But anyway, what a public policy analyst is quite broad. So what I do on a day-to-day basis is I study political risk and advise maybe international organizations or NGOs on, what's happening in the country, both at a regulatory space, so maybe changes in laws in different sectors that will affect any of their investments. So I monitor what people say, what they do, and what happens generally. When I was younger, I really didn't know that any of these things were things that people did. And so I'm really happy that Nova is actually doing this because it's exposing all of you guys to different types of careers that you could follow. And yeah, so that's my exciting day. Yeah.
It's really good to hear because that's exactly how we came about learning exactly what we love. I came across development in Nova as well as her in terms of fashion design and such.
And also being, this bold and being here, it's all things that have been instilled to us through Nova and the culture. It's something that's been passed down to us. So we're really grateful. And having this interview with you has been nice. And I know the audience, they also have pressing questions that they may want to ask you. So I'm going to turn my mic and give them an opportunity to ask you questions.
Hello, my name is Wangari Gashogo. I'm a student at Nova Pioneer. I actually follow you on social media, and I was asking, who inspires you to make change and be the change you'd like to see?
I think I look up to a couple of people. And when it comes to the politics of our country and just trying to fix the country, I look up to people like Wangari Maathai, who gave up everything to fight for the environment. I look up to people like Martin Luther King. They were struggling with really difficult issues of slavery, racism, which are still an issue today, but they chose to give of themselves for a cause, which we benefit from now. They don't benefit from it because they passed on, but they left a legacy for the generations that came after. And so I would like to be like that. I'd like everything that I do right now to have an effect on the generations that come after me. I hope that young people participating in politics will not be an issue in the future because maybe people like us decided to break those barriers. And I hope that in future, maybe our country will not suffer from things like corruption or things like those because we chose to speak out about them. So I look up to those people because they gave of themselves. They did not reap the benefits of what they were doing, but it left a mark on a generation.
Hi, my name is Shalin Joroge, and my question to you is, what empowerment projects are you currently working on?
Currently, I have a YouTube channel and a podcast called Is That So? With Silantoi. And the main aim of that challenge is just to have a platform where we can discuss very simplified civic education so that we just understand how government works and what exactly is our role, so that we know how to plug in. A lot of times, political information is presented to us either with an opinion that you're forced to believe, or it's quite skewed to benefit a few people. But what I'm trying to do is just have a platform that we can just discuss what is the issue, what are the pros and cons, what do we do about it, can we do something about it? So just simplifying civic education to make it accessible to all of us.
Thank you so much for your questions. I'm sure she has taken them and answered them to your satisfaction. On a lighter note, you've shown us that you have influence in so many things. What hobbies or skills are you mostly interested in?
Well, I like to cook. I think I'm a pretty good cook. And I'm not being humble about that. But anyway, and I used to play classical piano when I was in campus. I'm a music major.
Oh, really? That's really nice to hear. Actually, funny thing is, Nova has been able to acquire a set of instruments, and I'm sure one of them is a piano. Would you be interested in playing?
I guess so. We can try.
Okay, can somebody get us a piano or a keyboard, something for her?
Yes, let's go. Ciao.
Well, thank you. Okay, so you'll sing with me, yeah? Okay, let's go. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me. I said I remember you said sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Oh, high five. I'm sorry.
Fine. That's all we had for you on today's episode. Make sure you subscribe, share, and tune into the second episode of Find Your Nova Show. Catch you on the bright side.
Bye.
Bye-bye.